a selection from the humble book about the end of time. So this was my thesis work, and it's kind of novella length. Basically, the idea was what would happen if Groundhog's Day. You guys saw the movie Groundhog Day? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. If everyone wakes up, it's the same day over and over again, but instead of just happening to one person, happening to everyone. Everyone remembers everything that's happened, but everyone is stuck in the same day over and over again. You can do different things, but no matter what you do, you're still going to wake up where you woke up. And you can't die. Nothing really matters anymore. So given that kind of fun playground, what do people end up doing? So got a couple chapters from that. Chapter 1, Forest. Sometimes it's a rat gnawing on my balls. Sometimes it's an early morning joyride. But usually, I'm woken up by a jogger who spits near or on me. A better man would let it slide. I am not a better man. In fact, I'm willing to admit I am a worse man. But the things people do without meaning to hurt you still hurt, even now. So I hurl the nearly empty bottle of Mad Dog 2020 at the jogger, the bottle I spooned at with all night. Sometimes I hit the jogger, sometimes I hit the pavement. Usually I shank it right and shatter the deli window that I passed out next to, naked and drunk. Once I hit a truck that swerved and took out the jogger and a fire hydrant. That was a good day. On the last night, before the day started repeating, there was a party at Greg's house. I'd been staying with him for a month. Denise and I were separated and we still had time to work things out. We talked on the phone every few days and ended conversations with "I love you." In the middle of the party, the doorbell rang. It was a pizza delivery guy. "Got a pizza for Forrest Russell," he said, the edges of his goatee twitching. He smelled like hand lotion. "Right here," I said, forgetting I had not ordered a pizza. "You've been served, asshole," he said, opening the box to reveal divorce papers, and no pizza. "Fuck," I said. It's the last thing I remember about that night. When I woke up the next morning, the way I wake up every morning, I was naked, hungover, on the sidewalk. I also noticed, while bracing myself against the deli window, that there was an excessive amount of soreness coming from my ass. Looking at my blurry reflection, I saw a fresh tattoo across both cheeks. The left one said "fuck," right one said "Denise." In Comic Sans. As if I could forget. She's mean and snorts when she laughs, and she's pale, and she has good teeth, and she's stupidly gorgeous. Fuck Denise. When dealing with an indefinite amount of unstructured time, it's important to have healthy routines in your life. Denise, when we were still together, would wake up early to cram in an interval workout before rushing off to the paper and tell me, "We are what we do." "Then I'm your mom," I'd mumble, and pull the navy micro fleece blanket over my head and go back to sleep. Here's my routine. Throw a bottle at jogger, scavenge breakfast, and procure pills for pulsing headache. The closest choice is the deli I sit next to, Zia's. They have a big front glass window, and if I hadn't already shattered it with my shitty aim, I smash it with a dented trash can, one I may or may not have thrown up in last night. For breakfast, an unsold oatmeal cookie from the day-old pastry pile, and a half-finished jug of Carlo Rossi from the break room. I step over a naked teen couple sleeping on the floor under lost and found coats after a romantic night together. The girl works here, and she let them both in the back door to be alone, steal wine, and fuck awkwardly on the linoleum. If I cared, I could take a coat from their pile and cover my floppy nudity, but I'd only wake them up, and we'd probably have nothing to talk about. So I just grab the Rossi and some ibuprofen from the first aid kit, and head back down to the empty street, through the front door. During my time in today, I've determined Advil is usually best for curing my vintage of headache, with Bayer coming in at a close second. Tylenol does fuck all. I wash down a handful of rounded brown pills with 2 gulps of dark, tepid wine. Transportation comes next. It's a small town. I'm only about 12 blocks away from Denise's place, another 7 from Greg's. If I feel like exercising, I'll continue drinking breakfast as I walk east on Main. Anyone who says Carlo Rossi isn't a breakfast wine doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It sips like a box wine, but it finishes like a prison wine. It's delightful. When I finish the bottle, I will dispose of it by smashing it on the hood of a parked Audi and half-heartedly trying to slash its front tires. It's 7 a.m., 68 degrees and rising, sunny with nothing but blue skies. Denise's apartment, my old apartment, is 8 stories up and has a rickety fire escape that runs along the back of the brick and ivy building. I climbed the rusted steel rungs to the top floor where she left the window open from the previous night. On the weekends, Denise sleeps heavily, skips her morning run, and is never up before 10. On the glass and oxidized copper coffee table in the living room, which I never liked, sits a half-empty pitcher of margarita mix and 2 glasses, each with lip-size impressions out of its salt-ringed rims. It smells like clove cigarettes, which she does not smoke, and rosewater perfume, which she does not wear. Every morning, I find something in the apartment that Denise likes, that I can destroy, steal, or befoul. I have a mental list of roughly 3 dozen things which I like to do, from which I randomly pick and choose. Here are some highlights. Urinate on her toothbrush. Throw her coffee filters out the window so she can't make coffee. Flush her good bra down the toilet. Fart on her cell phone. Clog the bathtub with her underwear collection and run the faucets until it floods the apartment. Steal her kimono to defecate on later, although I won't have to go until about mid-afternoon. Cut the plug to her TV so she'll have to watch movies on her shitty little laptop screen. Urinate on her shitty little laptop screen. A better man would forget about her. I am not a better man. So that is the first chapter. And this is kind of a tough thing to excerpt from because there's all these different kind of crazy subplots. The other little chunk that I'm going to give you guys is from this kind of gambler storyline. Basically, there's a bookie who kind of owns, everyone in the town owes money to. But the problem is, how do you really pay someone when time is infinite and you can't really give them anything material? The bookie's solution was to make everyone who he owed money to do jobs for him, specifically kill people who also owed money to him. So it's kind of like he's using his this debt to kind of make everyone kill each other in a free-for-all for his own amusement. Also, I can't really do a Polish accent, but my Russian accent isn't the worst, so I'm going to work with that. Chapter 2, Becky. Oh, and Becky was just hired to kill this Polish exchange student, Tiny. Next morning, I'm at the international student's house on campus with a switchblade, a bunch of Xanax, and a vintage World War II Luger with a full clip that I stole from a pawn shop on the way over. I look like the human Swiss Army knife of death. Tiny is asleep on the couch with Mario Kart demoing on the 25-inch TV in a cheerful loop. I nudge his foot. No movement. He is an unnervingly attractive guy. It doesn't hurt that his chin's made out of bricks. I take out the Luger, struggle to cock it, and draw a bead on Tiny's head. Piece of cake. Except Tank, that's the bookie, needs Tiny to know why he's being killed. So I kick Tiny's foot. He turns over, letting the controller fall off his chiseled chest. That's not going to do it. Hey, Tiny, I snap. Wake up. A grunt. Not enough. There's a cooler in the kitchen. I tuck the Luger into my waistband, butt first, with the barrel aiming past my left hip. I drag the cooler full of mostly melted ice to the living room. I open it and position it at the lip of the couch. I walk back to the couch and push Tiny towards the cooler. He doesn't budge. It's got to be carved out of meaty Polish diamonds. Or else he's part supermodel and part gecko and just sticks to the couch cushions. It's probably his double. Just locks itself into the cushions, into the pillow like some sexy super glue. If he's actually 23 like he says, they sure grow him differently in Poland. He must be doing something really wrong. Finally, I take the Luger out and fire it at the window across the room. I hear the faint noises of a car crash across the street. At the sound of a gunshot, Tiny wakes up and instinctively falls into the cooler, then thrashes around before his mask tips the whole thing over, spilling water onto the Nintendo 64, which sparks and turns off. The TV's finally quiet. Morning, Tiny, I say. I stand with my left hand on my hip, looking pretty cool. I'm trying to exhale completely, but my chest doesn't want to lower all the way. It smells like gun smoke and burnt wires. Morning, Rebecca, he says, frowning. His Polish accent, I'm trying. Giving my name a new sternness and heft. You have gun? Yes. Have. Luger. Good gun, he says, standing up and wringing out the bottom of his boxers. Why? Because you didn't pay Tank before the apocalypse, and he sent me to kill you for today. Okay, this is kind of funny, he says. I was supposed to kill you for today. Small world, no? What do you mean? Oh, he sent me after you. You after me? He just wants bloodbath. Well, Tank is an asshat, I said. Big asshat, he agrees. What is he paying you? I get $500 off my debt, I say. He raises his eyebrows. Seriously, I got offered $1,000. For 16 hours of you being dead. Well, I don't get up till noon 30, so it is more like 11 hours of being dead. That is bullshit, I say. I'm not even gonna try now. No, I am feeling bad, he says. You should kill me. I don't need your pity, death, I say. No pity, he says. smoothing out his thick, dark hair with his wet hands. You got drop on me, fair and square. Pass, I say. Either I kill you for real or not at all. Well, you can't kill me for real, he says, padding over to the kitchen, leaving wet footprints behind. Coffee? You know what I mean. A tablespoon of cream, teaspoon of cinnamon. Well, it sounds like coffee for dieters. You dieter? I just got used to it, I say, following him into the kitchen. I know it doesn't work. Oh, plus, you don't need it. Perfect body, in my opinion, he says, filling up the tea kettle. I bet you say that to all the girls who want to kill you. It is a very short list. You want toast? It's no trouble, I ask. No, it's fine. Just Polish rye bread. It's okay? It's great, I say. Then realize that the Luger's got warm on my hand. I uncock it and tuck it back into my waistband. You say he offered you $1,000. And that mean you didn't take it? Well, it seems like a lot of work. I told him I didn't want to kill people and I considered my debt over. And that's why I got sent over here, to scare you into pain. And don't worry, you're very scary, he says, taking the whistling kettle off the stove. You know, if you don't want to kill me yet, we could just kill next people on our lists. I only had you. You had a list? Sure, maybe 5, 6 people. That asshat Tank must have thought I would have gotten past you. Very sexist. He pours the boiling water into a single cup brewer balanced over a mug. Just going to be a few. Tiny, says a lanky underclassman named Wendell, standing in the doorway. He's wearing a bike helmet, but his long curly hair is poking out from under it in every direction. I have something for you. He turns around, rummages in his bag, and pulls out a paring knife. The Luger is already cocked back in my hand and pointed at his head by the time he turns around. Tank sent you, I ask. The kid nods. He's given me $800 off my debt to kill Tiny today. $800, I cough, and the best you have is a goddamn paring knife. Oh, he offered me $1,000 to do it, but honestly, I didn't think I was worth that much, so I bargained him down. Look, Wendell, I say, you're not killing Tiny today. If you like, you can try to kill him tomorrow. But since you seem like an okay guy, I'll give you 2 options on how to die. 3, Luger, knife, or Xanax. Oh man, I'll take the Xanax. Any idea how it goes with weed? It kills you, says Tiny, but very mellow. Cool, says Wendell. 2 hours later, I'm out of Xanax and bullets, and there's a pile of bodies in the corner of the room. Tiny flops the latest corpse into the mix. She's a tall, gum-smacking brunette who was really eager to die. I think I knew her from our psych stats class. She has a smooth forehead and eyelashes that took up half her face. Tiny says she's worth $600, but goddamn Tank offered her $1,500 for the job. I swear, there's no logic to Tank's pricing, I say. Bite into another slice of Polish rye, this time layered with butter and topped with hot bacon. Oh god, I can't believe I ever dieted. The bacon grease drips off the ridges and lands on the bread, melting the butter in spots. There's an overwhelming taste of salt and a lightness to the small pieces of meat and fat as they dissolve on my tongue. This was my breakfast growing up, says Tiny. My lunch, my midnight snack, whatever. With a cup of whole milk. My mother complained that she spent half a paycheck on bacon and bread. I lower my nose to the slice of bacon, inhale fully. Tiny adjusts the girl and folds her in a more dignified position. He is not a good businessman, he says. Is it weird how they all smell like pencil shavings? It's noon now, and the flow of assassins seems to have slowed. Upstairs, music is playing. The Way You Wear Your Hat, Sinatra sings. My alarm, says Tiny. 12:01, it's time to get up. He steps toward me, and the floorboards creak. He offers me his hand. May I have this dance, Rebecca? I brush greasy fingers onto my jeans. Sure, I mumble with my mouth full. I move across the room to him. He sways in time, waiting for me to meet up at the foot of Dead Body Hill. He's not fancy, but he can move. He spins me out and then curls me back in. I'm wrapped up in his arms with my back to him, and we just rock back and forth for 8 counts. He's warm, and it's about a quarter of an inch of give. There's about a quarter of an inch of give to his stomach before I can feel the muscles beneath. He smells like bacon and Old Spice. I back out under his arms and spin back to the basic hold. His hand returns to my waist. You going to use that knife? He asks. It's in my hand behind his back. I was thinking about it, I say. You going to use yours? It's behind my back. Maybe, he says. The song stops.